Good morning and welcome back, guys, to Drawing with Michael. Today we're going to do something that I did a little while ago. I reviewed a product called the Surface Pro 2, and I did a very rudimentary kind of exposure to what I thought the product could do for you as an artist and what exactly it meant to me as an illustrator who uses the Surface Pro line on a daily basis. I also reviewed the Cintiq Companion. Very short. I just kind of gave an overview because I had just received it and didn't really get into the depths of it. But today, what I'm going to do is I'm kind of going to let you guys look at the product from my viewpoint and how I use it on a sketch, as a sketch tool on a daily basis to kind of give you an idea of what it's capable of. I had a lot of people ask me, Mike, is it fast enough? Well, just to give you an example, I have the Surface Pro 2 that has, let's go down here to about, it is the Surface Pro 2, excuse me, I'm going to clear my throat, excuse me. It's the Surface Pro 2 with the Intel Core i5 processor 4300U, which is, I believe, is the second generation for this particular product. 1.9 gigahertz with turbo boost up to 2.5 gigahertz. It has 8 gigs of RAM. Currently, I'm doing the 64-bit operating system Windows 10, and it's got a 256 gigabyte SSD drive, and then in addition to that, I've got storage. I believe it's 64 gigabytes, and it's got an SD card slot on the side. This particular product, this particular machine doesn't come with a keyboard. You have to purchase the keyboard, and I do have a keyboard, if I can find it. As you can see, I don't really use it that much, because with the Surface Pro, you can basically do all your notes, but this particular keyboard right here is really nice. It is actually thicker than your normal keyboard. It's called the Power Keyboard, and it's supposed to boost the battery life of the Surface Pro by 75%. So you should be getting about 6.5, 7 hours, maybe even more, maybe even 10 hours out of your Surface Pro. However, since this is an older product, if you decide to buy the keyboard new, the problem that you're going to run into if it's a brand new keyboard is the fact that it's never been used before and therefore has never been charged before. They come from the factory, I believe, fully charged. However, if they have sat on the shelf for, let's say, 4 years, 5 years, you're going to get the keyboard and it's going to be totally dead. Unfortunately, with lithium-ion batteries and this particular machine, if you get the keyboard, it has no juice in it. Therefore, it is completely ruined. You will not be able to charge it because the controller inside of the keyboard, once it gets down to a certain point, it doesn't allow it to charge. So basically, I paid $40 for something I thought would be a battery, and now it is just a keyboard. And that's fine, and I'm good with that. Later on down the line, I might end up investing in one that's already been charged. Anyway, what I'm trying to get at is this as a sketch tool. I've seen so many people purchase iPads, and I think the iPad is an extremely powerful tool. I mean, it is phenomenal. Phenomenal, but one of the drawbacks that I saw immediately was price. Holy crow. I mean, $900 for the 32 gigabyte. And I know you can get it used now, but the problem for me is I didn't have $900 to spend. I mean, unless you're purchasing a machine. I mean, that's how much I paid for my Cintiq Companion, for crying out loud. I paid $980 for it. I got a really good deal on it. But the plain fact of the matter is I didn't have, $900 to spend. Of course, if it's for your business and blah, blah, blah. We all know the reasoning that, as artists, we give ourselves to say, oh, we need to buy and go spend $900 on a product for ourselves and for our business. But that being said, I decided that was just too much for me. So I needed to look for alternatives. I looked for alternatives for quite a while, and I landed on the Surface Pro 2. Why? Because it's got all these great features that the iPad Pro did not. I mean, of course, the battery life sucks unless you get the additional keyboard. But what I liked about the Surface Pro line is I could install existing programs that I already, quote unquote, own the licenses to. With Adobe products, you can basically, you know, if you have a Mac, and which I do, that's my normal desktop, you can use the license to basically install on your PC, which is what I did. So I have, if you look down here, well, it's not on this one, it's on my Cintiq. But on my Cintiq, if you were to look down here, cancel, you would see Photoshop, Illustrator, and all the Adobe products that I have installed on my Surface Pro. Not Surface Pro, but on my Cintiq. I'm really screwing this up, aren't I? But what I use this primarily for is sketching. Currently, I'm using Clip Studio Paint. Clip Studio Paint is absolutely phenomenal. And the reason why I like this program so much is because out of the box, it comes with these incredible sketch tools. You know, just phenomenal. I love the fact that it uses the WinTab driver for the Wacom pen. This is a Lifebook. You see the little name right here from the Lifebook Fujitsu. This is their, I believe their P1 or P5000 pen. You can get a pen with this. It costs about $40, and it's a fantastic pen. Don't get me wrong, for the Surface Pro 2. Because the Surface Pro 2 doesn't use Intreg technology, which is Surface Pro 3 and later. It uses Wacom technology. So it has over 1,000, I think it's 1,024 levels of sensitivity, exactly the same as my Cintiq monitor that I use with my Mac. I know later models like my Cintiq Companion has, you know, double the sensitivity, and it's a phenomenal device. However, for my money, and the sensitivity, and the fact that I can install full-size programs, full versions, I can save as, you know, as the files that I can transfer right over to my Mac, I think that it was just, for me, the better option. And it's running Windows 10, very stable. You know, I have tons of apps on here, and it's basically a full working PC. And that's why I thought it was a better option overall than the iPad that most people, you know, currently, whenever you buy the iPad, the artist, you buy the pen, that's $100, and then you buy the iPad, that's $900, and then you buy the Procreate, which is one program. So you're going to spend $900 plus the money on the program for something that you basically, although good, it's got a very narrow, in my opinion, very narrow realm of possibility. Now, I've seen people utilize, you know, Will Terry, he's created an entire business model for his characters, then he uses his iPad. You know, recently I saw Aaron Blaze got an iPad and he's using that. I think that's fantastic, but again, I go back to the cost, and I'm not going to spend, you know, $900 to get a program, or I'm sorry, get a format that is, in my opinion, quite limited. You know, I can take layered Photoshop files on here. I can take, you know, pretty much anything. It'll take 1.5 gig files. I can watch video on it. I can stream video from it. I can plug the HDMI port from the side right into any big screen television. You know, I can utilize a mouse with it. I can go traveling with it. It's just a fantastic machine overall. And for my money, the Surface Pro 2 is so hard to beat overall. And you know, the people ask me, one of the other questions was, you know, how does it compare with the Cintiq Companion? Honestly, I set this machine up the same way I did my Cintiq, and it kind of feels like a mini Cintiq. It's kind of silly to say that, but at the same, you know, time, it really feels just like I have a little mini 10.5-inch Cintiq. It's pressure sensitivity is absolutely phenomenal, and I can't really complain. You know, if the battery life gets a little sketchy, the touch sensitivity is fantastic with it. The palm rejection is fantastic, as you guys are seeing. There's no latency, if any. I mean, it's the speed of the machine is absolutely phenomenal. This is one of the biggest overlooked machines in the artist community out there right now. I think these things should be right on your list, especially since you can get them for like $250, $300. $250, $300 to get a machine that has an i5 processor, 8 gigs of RAM, almost 2 gigs of video RAM, and can do all that this machine can do. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just, they're like giving them away. Not really, they're not giving them away. You guys know what I'm saying. It's hard to beat whenever you have this kind of a powerful tool at your disposal, and you can take it with you, go to the movie theater, and work on your illustrations. Anyway, I just wanted to give you guys kind of an overview tutorial of exactly what the Surface Pro 2 can do, as a sketch tool, as a full-out rendering tool as well. It's a very powerful machine, and I think overall, if you decide, I want to go ahead and do my illustration work with it, it is fully capable of doing that. And it's hard to, here, we'll give him, it's hard for me to say, the Cintiq is better, the Cintiq is this, the Cintiq is that, where, I can get this machine and it's just absolutely phenomenal, So the tool that I just switched to is the lasso tool, and basically with the lasso tool, as you look at it, it's not like the lasso tool in Illustrator. It blocks in the color really quickly. So you can, and what's nice is, I don't have to sit there and have a keyboard. I can basically use my right hand and I can, do my rotation. And this is program specific. This isn't the fact that I'm showing off what the Cintiq, or not the Cintiq, but the Companion can do. Not the Companion, dang it. You guys know what I'm talking about, the Surface Pro 2 and what it can do. But, I mean, if you look, what a fantastic tool this is. I'm not having any palm rejection issues or anything like that. And it does everything I want it to, very quickly and accurately. And it doesn't hang up, So, and then I can come back. This particular program's fantastic because it's got these great watercolor brushes. I come back and I can go over here to my layer transparency, lock my layer transparency, just like I could in Photoshop. I can darken my my tone, close this sub menu, and I can enlarge the brush, and I can just start doing my shadows and stuff. Change my brush size. And just start digitally painting. Fantastic piece of machinery, fantastic program. You can't really beat it. I mean, I think I paid $190 for this thing. And then the program, I think, Clip Studio Paint is just one of those programs that is so underrated. I think I paid, golly, I think Clip Studio Paint's like $50, and occasionally you can get it for like $30 or $25, depending on sales. It's just a great program overall, and it's a great tool for artists. I use this whenever I teach. I can plug it right into the television, and I can have demos right there in class. I mean, there's like almost zero latency, and the pressure sensitivity. It's something that I'm used to. I can feel it's like I have my Cintiq Companion or my Cintiq with my Mac right in front of me. You cannot beat it. And you can program the 2-button pen just like you could on your desktop, and you can basically have you can have your cake and eat it too, people. I mean, how freaking awesome is this? I love being able to sit down and while my wife and my kids watch TV, I've got this little tablet in front of me. This is basically a desktop a freaking desktop computer. I mean, it's so powerful. Now, I haven't used the Surface Pro 4, and I'm sure it's more powerful. And of course, with the i7, I have the i7 processor in my companion. This is the i5, but to be honest with you, I mean, it's fantastic. I love it, and for what I use it for, which is basically sketch artwork. And what's nice is, especially with this particular program, you come up here and it's just like a quick save, just one button, you know, and I can say, hey, I want to save to my storage, and I can save as a Photoshop layered document. I mean, that's what's great about it. And, you know, I don't have to have my keyboard attached. It's got a virtual keyboard. You know, this would be fun sketch. Save. And two, what's really cool about this program, see, and I can quit it. It's saving. Okay. Confirm changes. Okay. Oh, you guys weren't supposed to see that. Oh, no. Shake. We can't see that. No, we don't want to see that. Okay. That's for a different whatchamacallit, empty recycle bin. And what's cool about this is the fact that if you look over here, I mean, I've got 3D programs. I've got the Adobe Creative Cloud. I've got Photoshop, Clip Studio Paint. One of my favorite programs is this program right here. And some of you guys recognize the interface here. There's no latency. Look at that. Just fast as all get out. The Sketchbook Pro, which I absolutely love this program. And then this, and very fast. And what else do I have on here? Oh, a lot of you guys that have iPads and stuff like that are like, well, I like my iPad because I got, I got my Apple Universe and I got all my pictures on there. So if I take it with my phone and all my pictures show up on my iPad and I can just drag them right into my my Procreate. Guess what, guys? On here is basically the Apple universe. So I have iCloud on here. Look, iCloud Photos, iCloud. So I've got my iCloud storage. It backs up everything. I've got Find My iPhone, hello, and iCloud Photos. So basically, I take a photograph with my phone, and it shows up right here. And sometimes even faster than it would on my iPad or on my desktop, my Mac desktop. So, overview for you guys. Surface Pro 2, not 3, not 4, the 2. The 2 is the one to get because it's got the Wacom technology with the pressure sensitivity. You can run Windows 10. It's got an i5 processor. It's got expandability with an SD card slot up to 256 gigabytes of storage. They come in 256, 512 gigs of SSD. It's got a gig and a half, I think a gig and a half or 2 gigs of video RAM, 8 gigs of standard I believe DDR3 RAM. A fantastic machine overall. Decent battery life. I mean, if you sit there and watch movies and play video games on it, you're going to kill the battery life in like 2.5 hours, 3 hours. But there's always the keyboard that you guys can get. I just think overall, this is a better option for me as an artist than the iPad. I've looked at the iPad. I've gone and I've drawn with the iPad in the iPad store. I've utilized Procreate. I used Procreate back whenever they didn't have the pressure sensitivity, and I used the Jot Pro. So I'm very familiar with the Apple universe. I've had them since 1997. This was a great discovery for me. This particular picture right here was pretty much done on this machine. So that gives you some capability and understanding of what you can do. All my brushes, all my fonts, everything that I have can transfer right over to this little itty bitty machine that you wouldn't think would be as powerful as it is, but my goodness. Anyway, just to give you guys that, hopefully this will kind of answer some of the questions as far as speed, as far as reliability, as far as being able to transfer your files. Again, this is a great machine. You know, it's got the jack on the side. It's got one, I believe, USB 2.0, or maybe even USB 3. I really don't know. It's got it comes with a kickstand, but I love this particular case because it's got a kickstand on the back. It's made of leather. I think I paid $40 for this. I haven't had any problems with it other than occasionally the driver will mess up. You know, a while back I had to backtrack on the Wacom driver because it messed up my hand sensitivity, but that's what's great about the PC universe. I can go back and I can you know, basically backtrack to the driver before it. So everything is hunky-dory. And ask me any questions or anything that you guys I might have missed. The screen is really great. The colors, that's another thing. How are the colors? The colors are fantastic. It's got, you know, an HD screen. And again, I am running Windows 10, and occasionally I'll just sit here and I'll play the videos on it. It's got a forward-facing camera. It's got a, you know, I think it's 5.5 megapixel camera on the back. So it is a tablet, it is a PC, it is a drawing tablet. I mean, just for the money, I mean, $275, they're basically giving them away. So for those of you who are interested, occasionally the company that I bought this from, which is A4C, that's A4C.com. They're not a sponsor at all. I just like the fact that I can buy a product from them. They'll send it to me with a 30-day money-back guarantee or a replacement. Stuff has gone through, tested, and it's just a fantastic situation. And I know there's lots of them on eBay. So anyway, Surface Pro 2, not 3, not 4, but 2 is the one that I reviewed today. And we'll see you guys next time. Thanks. Bye.